This session is all about blocks. In this session, we'll learn about blocks and dynamic blocks and how to insert them using the insert command, tool palettes, design center, and AutoCAD Seek. So we'll be looking at topics such as what are blocks, inserting blocks, working with dynamic blocks, inserting blocks with design center, and inserting blocks with using the Internet Explorer, where we would select Seek, and that is through the Seek AutoCAD function. Okay, so let's start off with understanding what a block is. It is seen as a group of objects. Now, remember what I said, it's a group of objects is anything that you draw as a line or a circle that are grouped together to make a I wouldn't say object, but making something as a symbol. So, for instance, we can draw and convert that into a single symbol that represents, for instance, a door that opens with a swing, and that can be inserted into our floor plan. So these are seen as very useful tools in AutoCAD software because you can actually take something that is universal throughout and everyone would know what that means. So blocks can be anything from furniture to schematic symbols to entire drawings such as a roof detail. All right, we'll be looking at blocks mostly for we'll be looking at blocks that represent doors and windows, and so basically like a bath, for instance, or even a range cooker, etc. So using blocks in AutoCAD software has many benefits. It's the ease of manipulating the block into a drawing since they are unified objects. Okay, so let's look at the first or the most commonly used command, and that is seen in our Home tab. And we run along our panels and we go to block. All right, so there it is over there. And we double click on insert, and we can see that there's a drop down menu and we go down to more options. Okay, if you are wanting to do the shorthand version of that, then you just type in insert in your command line and this will pop up. Now, there is already some blocks in your drop down menu here. So you could click on like a chair, for instance, or a door, toilet, window, etc. So if we go on door, there is our door that has a swing to it. Okay, and you can actually see that there is a menu or a couple of incision points, scale, rotation options. And this is where you can be able to manipulate this drawing to insert it in the correct location with a certain size. Okay. What can also be done is you can go into browse, and with that previously I told you to download the blocks file, which was to be a zipped file that you need to unzip, and I've just got it immediately opened here, and that is either saved in your hard drive on your PC or it's on your USB, and you can be able just to access that as a block. And once you pick that, it will do the same and it will come up in this menu here, and you can do the same. You have the same options to be able to insert it into your drawing. So with that being said, we can actually look at these options. So it's best to keep insertion points specified on screen. If I unclick that, it's asking me for my X and Y coordinate from 0.0 within this model space. So if you know exactly where that insertion point is going to be with the pick point, then that is great. You can do that. I just find that would be quite in depth, and it's easier just to be able to specify on screen where you can actually get your cursor once you've selected the object and move it to position it in the correct location with linking it up to a OSNAP. So it's good that you have your OSNAPs on down in your status bar down here. Okay, and over here you'll see that it says specify on screen or keeping it at X. So what this means is that it is drawn to be inserted into your drawing to pick up the current scale. So we are drawing normally 1:1, and with that then it will be inserted at that scale, or usually at that scale. We can also change the angle here, so we can actually do that by either making it go in at whatever angle, 90 degrees, so that will actually flip this to lie vertical. Okay. This block was produced in inches. That's totally fine. It gets converted into whatever your AutoCAD is set up in, and of course that is metric, so in millimeters. So we just leave that for now. So what also I will discuss, and that is actually in looking at blocks with the tool palettes, and that is a dynamic block, meaning that this is seen as a universal block throughout AutoCAD users, but we have the opportunity to manipulate certain features on here to suit our drawing. Okay, so if we go OK, you can actually see that my cursor is on the point of the inner part of the, or outer part of the door swing, and with that I can be able to find a point to insert it. Alright, so being there or there. Okay, so if I do that, you can actually see there's the door and the start of the swing. So you can also see that it's a lot smaller than my opening, which is 900. So I'm going to have to manipulate these functions on this block and be able to change it so that it can actually suit this door opening. Okay, so you can actually see that I've inserted this block on my walls layer. Ultimately, this block was drawn in layer 0, but if we insert it in a layer that we currently in, it will take on the properties of that layer. Alright, so just bear that in mind. If we had to explode this item, it then, to make changes to it, to save it as a new block, then it will be taken back to layer 0. So just keep that in mind when you are producing blocks. And in this tutorial or video recording, I'm just showing you where to insert blocks and the different options that you can use. I will also upload a previous lecturer's video on blocks because I think that's important, and he goes into more description on how to create blocks or write a block, for instance. And so I advise that you do watch that video and so forth. Okay, so when we're looking at a dynamic block, all right, which is this, all right, so all the lines are grouped together to create a symbol. We can now click on that object and it's highlighted in blue, and you'll see that all around it there is little grips, okay, that look like arrows pointing in different directions. Okay, these are known as modification features, all right, and they are either to lengthen or shorten, or you might be able to flip it or rotate it. Okay, so over here, this one here, if I click on that, you can see it turns red, and if I click, then it's prompting me in blue to give it a distance. All right, so if I said 900 and type that in, it will extend that to 900, as my door will fit in exactly at 900. Okay, so you can actually see that this door swing actually has no outer frame. It's literally just a swing door. So preferably you would have to create that and maybe explode this item, add that, and then be able to save it as a new block that you can keep for your reference for your drawings. Okay, so this is just creating a base, and you can then look at a list, which is this little symbol here, and this opens a list of options from which to select, such as size, number of items, view displayed, etc. For now, we're just going to leave that. Over here, we have this little, if you zoom in, we've got like a little square and a little upward arrow there, and that is to insert or move, indicates the insertion point of the block and other points that might have been assigned to the block. It can move the entire block or just one entity within the block. All right, then we have a downward arrow here, and that flips it. So if I'm wanting my swing to actually be this side, I can flip it, and that will flip it around. So let's try that. So there we go. It's now going outwards instead of inwards. All right. So let's just put that back, up and down, and this also flips it left or right. Okay. Apologies for that. Let's just switch that all off. Okay. And then we can look at so if I choose that arrow there, it now flips it either left or right. So you got your up down arrow and your left and right one, so that's great. All right, and that is a line. So we actually, that's insert move, that one over there. Okay, this here, apologies for that, that is move. This here is to do with align. Aligns the entire block at an angle of the object when you move the block near the object, right? And there is one symbol that's not on here at the moment, and that is rotate. Enables you to rotate the block or specific objects in the block. Okay, so over there you can actually see that this swing. So we are going to now increase the swing. Okay, you can see that it's about 45 degrees, and we want it to open showing 90 degrees. So we go to list, and it gives us some options there, and we're wanting to change that to 90 degrees. And now we have allowed for that to do and be open. Now you can actually see that this needs to move actually there, and that needs to move inwards. Okay, so you can actually see that it's the swing is actually out. So I can actually explode this item now, and I can get my grips. So I just highlight that, and I'm just moving it to there and to there. All right, and press escape to end that command. And now you can actually see everything fits in quite nicely, and you've got your door opening at 900. Okay, so that just gave you some input with regards to dynamic blocks, and dynamic blocks are already in the insert command with more options. So there, like I said, that's with a little lightning bolt on it. That means it's a dynamic block, which allows you to manipulate or modify the features of that dynamic block. Okay. Then you can actually go to just dynamic blocks by looking at your home tab, going along the home tab and clicking on your view tab, and going along from viewports to model to palettes. All right, and by clicking on tool palettes, you'll see that a drop down menu, which is docked to the left hand side of your screen, is got the door, imperial, window, imperial, etc. So these all allow us to be able to click on this object. So I'll just do, let's say, door again, or let's do toilet. All right. Now you can actually see that's in a elevation view, but if we look at that, we can actually drop it, and we can insert, press enter, and we can be able to look at changing it here by going elong to front. Let's go to plan, and there you go. So you can be able to set it out in plan. All right, so it gives you the list, and you can be able to start modifying the features on this item. All right, so rotate, there's that one, and you can now rotate that. All right, so if we just do that, it's just easier to get it at 90 degrees, and then we can move it if necessary to where we need to move it to. All right, and there we go. With this tool palette, you can actually dock this and be able to push it to the one side. You can reduce it or auto hide, and so then it just makes it easier for you to be able to pick what you're needing and be able to place it in its correct location, and then modify its features. Okay, for now I'm just going to close that just because I need more space. Okay, and that tool palette, if you want it either to be docked on the side, or you would like it to be maybe up here in your quick access toolbar, you can actually do that by add to quick access toolbar. So I'm going to just do that so I can show you that it's up there, and you can be able to click on that and it will drop it down as on the left hand side where your properties is. Okay, what is quite yeah, so I just find that as quite a useful thing. I'm just going to bring up my properties again, so let's just do that, which has now properties. Nope, just going to close that. Let's go properties, there we go. So with properties, you can actually change also the item here in terms of scale, etc. I haven't chosen anything, but this tells you everything about the property of the item that you are working with. So just remember that this is always good to have on as a drop down or a docked panel on the side. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to also look at the design center, and if this is the icon for it, you can also type in your command line design center, and that's by a shortcut version of AD center. So let's click on that. All right, which is over here. So I've already got that docked, and I am going to expand that, and there it is there. So this is my design center, and let's just see if that brings up a, yep. So how you locate it is, I've actually saved it to my favorites folder, but basically it's under, the pathway is under sample, and then EN-US, and design center is over there. Okay, and with that I can click into that, and it should have all the blocks in there. So that there's a specific block you're looking for, say for instance kitchen, landscaping, which is quite useful. So let's go into landscaping, and we have now going to blocks, and there's some landscaping blocks that you can actually click on and drop and drag into your drawing. Okay, so if we're looking at this tree here, deciduous tree, I can double click on that, and it will bring it up in my insert block table, and we can say that everything is okay here, 1 to 1. So it picks it up in the drawing as scaled as 1, and we don't need to angle it because it is round, and we can go okay, and there it is there in my drawing. So I can actually move it to where I want it to be. So if I feel like having it over there, I can do that, and even if I want a north sign, I can do that too. Okay, so I'm just going to just pick another one. Let's look at north symbol. Okay, and okay, there's my north symbol. Let's put it there, and let's close this, and there it is over there. Alright, so there's my null symbol. Let's just escape that. Now you can actually see that properties and design center is docked on the side. Okay, and I want to make this null symbol a little bit larger, so I click on it to allow changes to be made to it. This means that, just going back into home, this means that in properties I can actually change the scale here if I want to, or I can do it before I dropped it into the drawing, when it was in the insert what can I say, tab, and there I can be able to scale it and make it larger. So let's just say we're going to make that 2 and 2. Alright, and enter. Now it is, compared to what it was, it's a much larger block than what it originally was. Okay, so that is, we've now looked at 2 options. We've looked at inserting a block either from the existing objects that are already in the insert block panel, or we can actually go to more options, okay, or browse, and that's to go to a folder that we've saved in our hard drive, and we can work with that. If not, we can look at going through to Design Center, which is then we can get a whole lot of objects here that are grouped together to make a block. Okay, so we can also go to Autodesk Seek, and if I click on that, it does take me to a external site called BIM object or BIM object, and that is linked to your AutoCAD app site, and on there we can be able to search a specific product, and from there we can insert it into our drawing. Okay, so let's do landscaping. So I'm going to just go to the landscape symbol here. You can actually type also what you're needing. So let's go to landscape. And if we go to an object here, just say let's choose the Quarry View planter. All right. Then it will probably ask you to sign in as the person that you signed up with to download the student version. So it will be asking for your user name and password, and so I'm just going to download this because I am in the site already, and we are looking at it's affiliated now to be inserted into any one of these Autodesk programs. We are going to look at landscaping in Planter 2D, so download that. All right. Takes a little bit of time. Okay, now it is in 3D. We're not working in 3D, working in 2D. So 2D. All right, so that's it there. Quite plain and simple in terms of a block. So maybe that wasn't such a good option. Let's try let's just work with this just so it's easy. And we are going to download that. So it says loading. Okay. Then it says, what do you want to do with the landscaping object? So we're going to say we want to, we can save it, and we can either save that in our block file. All right. And then view the download. And that would take us to our downloads on our PC. And from there, you can move it into your folder that says blocks. Okay. So that's that. Now that you've saved the item to either your downloads or in your move that to your folder that says blocks, you can then do two things. It either opens it up in a separate file. So let's just go in there where it is there. Okay, so usually it comes in a 3D. It gets inserted in a 3D version. You just go to your navigation tools here and choose top view where you can actually see it there. There's two ways of doing that, where you can actually copy it from this and insert it into here. Okay, and I'll just do that for you. my mouse. Alright, so it comes up, as I said, in its own file tab. Just leave that for now. You could cut it and insert it into from this file into this file tab that you were working in, drawing one. Or you can actually now just go to insert the more options, and you can actually see it's in there, and it is going to be inserted with the correct scale according to what you're drawing it in. So if I go OK, there it is, it's scaled properly, and now I can put it next to my tree because it's my planter box. So I'll put it over there. Okay. If I do this option, it literally, if you are wanting to know how to do that, you select the object, and this is what you can do for many drawings. If you want to insert from one drawing file to another drawing file, you literally select the object with the selection window. You go to clipboard, which is in home tab, and under clipboard panel you go to copy. Now that the item is copied, you then go into plan and you go to clipboard again and you paste it, and you can actually see very small because it's actually taken on the incorrect properties. There it is over there. Now what you could do is go to properties and scale it correctly there. Okay, but I find it easier just to go straight into insert block, which then has that drop down menu or tab. So I'm just going to erase that. Okay, so I hope that gives you a bit of understanding on how to insert blocks. And I said it would be best that you also watch the video that Michael Jenkins provides, which I will provide for you in the recordings, and he actually explains a little bit more about blocks that is associated then with inserting into a plan, which I find is quite useful moving forward. And then also looking at creating blocks by manipulating a block or creating a block and saving it to be utilized for your drawings. Okay.